do with my stock. Now, remember, inventory, up until now, we saw as trading stock. But there's also another part to it. Can you see there? There's a word, consumable stores on hand. Now, on hand means I can still touch it. So now let me explain this to you. So consumable stores, let's say I'm working, one bottle is R1. Okay, it just makes my life easier. I say I've got consumable stores. I bought during the year, 10 bottles Handy Andy. Okay? So during the year I'm using the Handy Andy, I'm using it. The end of the year when I go to the storage and I count, I see, oh, there is 2 bottles left. Right? Now, that 2 bottles that is left, this is my stock on hand, I call consumable stores on hand, which means I can still use it. I didn't use it up. So, if I bought 10 bottles, I still got 2 bottles left. How many is my actual expense? Can you see? 8. So 8 bottles will go to profit and loss. Yes. That's the bottles that's left. So if I say, let's take highlighters. I say I buy 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. I have 8 highlighters. That's my stock. So I show in my books 8 is my expense. But during the year I use Lego Dry.
The players must please come to the in front of the hall.
From the 8, I used up and I only got 2 left the end of the year. So now that 2 isn't an expense anymore because I haven't used it, right? So I have only used 6. So 6 would be my expense. This 2 would be stock. I would call it consumable stores on hand, and I will use it next year. So in other words, my books would look like this. I will have a T account, consumable stores on hand, which is a balance sheet because it's an asset. And I will have here consumable stores 2. This is year 1. Next year, now remember, my year ends here, 28 February. It starts here, 1st of March. Can you see it's literally the next day? So the next day, I'm going to reverse it. I'm going to say, let's take it back to consumables because now, remember I closed that. So I'm going to start with 2 highlighters or 2 Handy Andys or 2 whatever. So this is going to be part of the next year's expense because it's about when am I using it. Let me show you how it works in the books. So if I look at my information, look there at the pre-adjustment trial balance. Can you see they give me stationery and they give me packing material, meaning that is what I spent on it this year. Right. So if you go to the T accounts for stationery and packing material, you're going to say February 28, I have stationery to the value of 4,000 and packing material to the value of 500. Now I go and I'm going to count if I have left. We call it a stock take. Okay. Now, can you see when I go here with the adjustment, they say closing inventory, meaning the last count of stock showed me I still have stationery of 600 and packing material of 100. Can you see this is not used? They are unused. Right. So, if I go here to stationery, I'm going to say 600 is unused, ne? But I'm going to call it consumable stores on hand. And my packing material, I'm going to say, oh, I have on hand, how many did I count? 100. So can you see, the on hand is what I didn't use. So, how much did I use? What is my profit and loss? This will show me what did I use. So, 4,000 less 600, 3.4. I used 3,400. And if I look here, 500, I have 100 left, which means I used 400. Does it make sense to you? So in my trial balance, oh, let's first do consumable stores on hand. So consumable stores on hand will on the debit side now be stationery, 600, packing material, 100. Can you see it's total now? 700. You guys with me? Yes. Okay. So now when I do the trial balance, my consumables on hand is 700. My stationery will be what I used, ne? The 3,400, and the packing material, the 400. Can you see it's the used ones? This would be the not used. So now, let's quickly think. What will go to the income statement of this trial balance? What will go? So let's go to what we know. Which section goes to the income statement? The nominal. So there's stationery and there is packing material. And what's the amount for them? It's that 3,400 and 400. Can you see? It's an expense, meaning it's what I literally did use. Remember, if I make my expenses too high, it will have a negative effect on my profit. So I do not want to show what I didn't use. I only want to show what I really did use. Okay? What will go to the balance sheet? Balance sheet section, consumables on hand, and it will go to inventory. Ne? So your inventory will be consumable stores on hand, 700. You have it? Repeat again. When it's an expense like stationery, packing material, fuel, service material, then when I count, it means I didn't use. So in other words, that part that I didn't use formed part of my inventory. It's an asset. And I subtract that from the total balance to get what I did use. You see? Okay. So you can write for yourself, the used is an expense, ne? And it goes to the income statement. The unused is an inventory, and it goes to the balance sheet. So just remember that. Okay. So now I'm going to start with trading stock. So when I do stock take, I'm not just going to count my handy Andy and highlighters. I'm also going to count my trading stock. Now you agree with me that throughout the year I did a T account for trading stock. So if I look at my trading stock T account, if I look and it says I have a balance of 7,000. When I go to the physical storage room and I started counting, I should count 7,000. You agree with me? Because in this trading stock T, every time I bought, I recorded. I sold, I recorded. I returned, I recorded. Debtors return, I recorded. The owner took, I recorded. I donate, I recorded. Can you see? Everything was recorded. So in other words, the value of stock in my books should be equal to the value of stock in the shop. But now I count and I see it's 6,600. Can you see there's 4,000 short? 400 short. It's not necessarily stolen. Because what could have happened? The owner maybe took stock for own use and he did not inform the bookkeeper. You see? The debtor bought goods, but still has not come to fetch it. Let's say he bought a fridge, a large item, and he needs to come with a bakkie to fetch it. So in my books I already subtracted the stock because it's sold, but in real life it's still standing there, waiting to be fetched. So it's not necessarily stolen. Okay. So now what am I going to do? Which one is the truest one? The one in the books or the one I can see? The one I can see. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to say, no, the balance isn't 7, it's 6,6. This is the real balance. And that 6,6 will go to my inventory, in the balance sheet, because this is my real asset. Now, I know trading stock is a plus and a minus. So can you see I short 400? And that 400, I'm going to make an expense in the income statement. And I'm going to say this is trading stock deficit. Does it make sense? Yes. Okay. The same can happen the other way around. So I have trading stocks balance 7,000, but when I go count, I get 7,200. Maybe a debtor returned goods and the storage manager hasn't notified the bookkeeper yet. You see? So I have not put it back into my T account, but it's already in the storage room. You see? So now I know this is the real deal, the 7.2. And by the way, trading stock can never have a negative balance. So now I see this side are short, but this is the plus side. So then I will say trading stock surplus. So the deficit would be an expense. The surplus would be a income. You get what I'm saying? Okay, so let's do the first exercise here. They say, I have trading stock to the value of 90,000. So, there we go. Now they say, stock taking showed that trading stock on hand is 87,000. So I know my new balance, the real balance COBD, is 87. So this is 87. The balance BD on the 1st of, this should be 28 February. Okay, and 28 February. Okay, this would be March. Okay, so now what do I see? Oh, I short 3,000. So that 3,000 is trading stock deficit. You see? And trading stock deficit would be an expense. This is an asset, this is an expense. So it means I'm going to close this to profit and loss 3,000. So when I do the trial balance, I'll have trading stock, and trading stock is now the one I counted, 87. I'll have trading stock deficit, which is now that 3,000. Can you see it still adds up to 90? So now, in the income statement, I'm going to have an expense, trading stock deficit, 3,000. In the balance sheet, I'm going to have an inventory, trading stock, 87.